Like it is a comic play where the main characters or the major characters are Rosalind, followed by Celia, Orlando, and Oliver. Now, Rosalind is the heroine or the main protagonist of the play because the whole play is revolving around her only. So, Rosalind is the heroine of the play and who later disguises herself as a male named Ganymede uh, to search her father, who is Duke Senior, and Celia is Rosalind's cousin, who also later in the play disguises herself as Ganymede's sister and named herself Eliana. And her father is Duke Frederick, who is a sharper, and he thrown out his brother from his position to rule the dukedom. Now, Orlando, he is the hero of the play, we can say, because we will find that at the end of the play, that Orlando will marry Rosalind, and Orlando's love interest is Rosalind, or the heroine of the play. He is the youngest son of Sir Roland de Boys, and he falls in love with Rosalind in the play. Now, Oliver is the elder brother of Orlando. Oliver was having the custody of Orlando, but he misused it because he was jealous of his brother's fame. And so he even tried to kill him. But at the end of the play, we will see that he realized his mistakes and falls in love with disguised Celia, that is Eliana, or the disguised form of Celia. Duke Ferdinand or Duke Senior is the father of Rosalind, or the original ruler of the dukedom, and Duke Frederick is the tyrannical brother of Duke Senior, and he was also the father of Celia. And it is important to note that though the two brothers were having a very bad relationship, they were sharing a very bad relationship, whereas their daughters were sharing a very close bond, which we will explore while going through the summary of the play. It is interesting to note the character of Adam, who is the servant of Sir Roland de Boys, but Orlando referred him as a good old man, and he is indeed a good old man because even after being old, he was very devoted on his role, and so he accompanied Orlando in the forest of Arden. Now, Jake's Tuckstone, Corinne, Sylvius, Phoebe, Audrey are the other characters that are generally present in the original drama. So, if the uh, drama is in summarized from or in the story from, generally these characters are not explored in the summarized form of the drama, but they are also important characters because Jakes is an original creation of Shakespeare, and so he is known as the melancholic Jakes because of the way he sees everything. His role is important because he criticized the theme of pastoral romance in the play, and so he is represented as a cynical man. Now, Tuxton is the fool or the jester in the court of Duke Frederick. Corin is a shepherd in the forest of Arden, and he is the one who, helped Rosalind and Celia, or the disguised form of Rosalind and Celia, that is Ganymede and Eliana, to find a home. And Sylvius, he is also the shepherd who has fallen in love with the countrymaid Phoebe. But Phoebe was very, uh, you know, uh, who was a very Phoebe was the character who was too proud of her beauty, and he was in love with Ganymede, or the disguised form of Rosalind. And Audrey. Audrey is the shepherdess who adores courtly life, and at the end of the play, we will see that Audrey and Tuxton marries each other, and so somewhere these two characters, that is Audrey and Tuxton, are critiquing the courtly love through their characters. Now, before going to the summary of As You Like It, it is necessary for us to know few important points about As You Like It. That is that As You Like It was written in 1598 and it was probably first performed in 1599, and it was first printed in the first folio in 1623. And As You Like It by Shakespeare is an adaptation of Thomas Lodge Rosalind, where all the characters in As You Like It were adapted from Thomas Lodge Rosalind except the character of Jakes, which is um, original creation of Shakespeare. And it is a comedy, rather it is a romantic comedy, and it was first performed during the reign of Queen Elizabeth, and this is an five-act play. The themes which Shakespeare explored in this play, As You Like It, are the contrast between court and country life or the forest life. Then the theme of love. There are so many couples in the entire play. There is Oliver and Celia, then Orlando and Rosalind, Tuckstone and Audrey, even Phoebe's love interest on Ganymede. So the entire play is about romance. The another theme explored by Shakespeare is the female bonding. It is noteworthy that how Celia was ready to sacrifice her courtly life and lavishness to be with her cousin Rosalind. And there is also the theme of reconciliation. We will see how Oliver will realize his mistakes, and he will beg forgiveness uh, in front of Orlando. And we will also see that at the end of the play, Duke Frederick or the usurper will be ready to sacrifice his dukedom, or he will be ready to return the dukedom to the original holder, that is to Duke Senior. So these are the important themes we are going to deal in the story As You Like It, or rather the play As You Like It, which we also see in the form of story, begins at the time when France was divided into provinces and dukedoms. And we will see that Duke Frederick banishes his elder brother, who takes shelter in the forest of Arden with his fellow mates and leads the life of uh, the who leads the life of the Robin Hood of England. And so Rosalind is sad as her father has been banished, and so Celia requests her to watch the wrestling match, which was organized by the court, and it was between a young lad whose name was Orlando and a professional wrestler. In the end of the match, we will see that Orlando wins the match, and Rosalind also gets to know that Orlando is the son of Sir Roland de Boys, and as a token of love, Rosalind offers her golden chain. The people were pitying for Rosalind, so are jealous, or we can also use the word or another synonym of jealous, that is the green-eyed Duke Frederick orders her to leave the palace. Celia decides to join Rosalind, and they disguise themselves into a country lad and lady. Rosalind disguises herself or camouflages herself into a country lad and named herself as Ganymede, and Celia into Eliana, a country lady. So we will see that after a tiresome journey, they will reach into the forest of Arden, where they will buy a house with the help of a shepherd. In the meantime, the green-eyed brother or the envious brother of Orlando, elder brother of Orlando, who is Oliver, vows to burn his brother alive in his chamber while he is asleep. This is overheard by Adam, who is also known as the good old man, and he informs Orlando about the treacherous plan and offers him his savings, and also decides to join Orlando to serve him. Old Adam becomes tired for the journey. So Orlando goes to search food for him, and by chance comes upon the company of the Duke and his friends. After a few days, Rosalind sees her name engraved on the bark of the trees and recognizes the man behind the love notes is none other than Orlando. Orlando fails to recognize the camouflaged Rosalind. So Rosalind decides to play a game of disguise with Orlando and informs him that he, that is Ganymede, or we all know that is Rosalind, can cure his love for Rosalind. They were on this game where Orlando was falling more for Rosalind and Rosalind was falling more for Orlando. So one day while visiting Rosalind, Orlando or Rosalind, or we can say while visiting Ganymede, Orlando see a young man sleeping with a snake twisted round his neck. When he goes near the snake glides away and he sees a lioness waiting for her prey to wake up. Orlando realizes that the young man is none other than his elder brother, so he starts to fight with the lioness, which awakens Oliver, and he realizes his mistakes and begs mercy. As we all know, that Orlando is a kind-hearted young lad, so he forgives his elder brother. But the fighting with the lioness gravely wounds him. So he requests Oliver to inform Ganymede about his condition along with a bloody handkerchief. Oliver follows Orlando's instruction and after informing Rosalind about Orlando's injury, Rosalind faints. Though later she informs the surprised Oliver after regaining her consciousness that he is feigning the role of Rosalind. Meanwhile, Oliver falls in love with Eleanor, that is Celia, and decides to stay with Celia, that is the shepherdess, being her shepherd. So he decides to stay in the forest as a shepherd. They decide to marry. So Ganymede inquires Orlando whether he wants to marry Rosalind. Then he or Ganymede can bring her, that is Rosalind, on the day of wedding through the magic he learned from his uncle. Then on the day of the marriage, Ganymede asks Duke Senior if he is ready to give her daughter's hand to Orlando. When the Duke agrees, Rosalind reveals her disguise and narrates the whole adventure. On the other side, Duke Pedrick is enraged at the flight of Celia, so he decides to kill his brother, and so with an army he enters into the forest of Arden. But after entering the forest of Arden, he meets with a hermit who completely changes his view about life, and so Duke Pedrick chooses to live a life like a saint. And so Duke Frederick decides to return the dukedom to Duke Senior as he will live a life like a saint, and the play ends happily with the marriage between Orlando and Rosalind, Oliver and Celia, and also between Tuxton and Audrey.